Hello, this is Evelyn Olivares. Welcome to your webinar on the 7-minute business math. We're talking today about net present value. So welcome along. Hope you enjoy the session. It won't take us very long to get through the whole thing, so enjoy. We're looking today at simple business math and primarily at net present value, or NPV. We're going to touch on very briefly the future value, or FV, and the present value, which is PV. What's important to understand now about the net present value is the value of $1 today is very different to the value of $1 tomorrow or next week, next month, or next year. So a dollar received in year 1, 2, or 3 is not the same value as what it is today, a dollar received today. So we're going to be looking at how you can calculate those out using the formulas of net present value, and see if we can't get you a way to look at how you could accumulate greater funds in the future. So cash flow and the dollar. When you're looking at a proposal, for example, you must look at the cash flows in relationship to the value of $1 today. In the future as well, because 1, 2, and 3 years from now, as I mentioned before, the money is different to what it is worth today, the value of it. So it's always good practice to justify the value of money in time, and in terms of one denomination or one standard, if you like. That's the best way to do that now. We're going to have a look at, and that's through present value and future cash flow. Simple business math. Compound interest future value formula is FV equals P, and in brackets 1 plus I, and then close bracket N, which means future value is your FV. The original principal, the money you're putting in initially, is the P. The interest rate over the period is the I, and the number of periods, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 periods, is the N, is the number. Now, and the N. So please don't panic. I know this might seem like, oh my goodness, I mean, you know, when I was growing up, and even these years, some of the formulas I think, oh my goodness. But don't panic. Believe me when I say that don't worry, because this is much easier than it looks. Keeping it really simple, looking at present value. Your present value of $100 today. What if today you put $100 in the bank at 5% interest per annum? You leave it there for the year. Next year you will receive $105. Now, that $5 that you've earned from the bank paid you, is called future value. Yeah? Simple. Future and present values. Mr. Smith, for example, has $100 cash and has decided not to spend it, and instead he will invest it to earn 12% interest with a building society. After a year, his investment is going to be worth $112. So now, the formula again, the P is a principal investment, how much he's putting in up front. The I is the interest rate, and the FV, of course, is the future value of the investment. So there's the formula there, $100 multiplied by 1.12, which is the interest rate, gives him $112 in 12 months. Imagine this. The relationship between the present value, or the P, and the future value, or the FV, is in the previous example, can be considered from the opposite side as well, from the opposite end of the scale, from the future value. Suppose Mr. Smith has to pay a debt, and he knows he must pay this debt, and he must pay it in 12 months' time, and the debt he needs to pay is $112. So he knows that he must pay $112 in 12 months' time, and then he asks you, how much do I have to invest now in order to have $112 in 12 months' time so I can pay my debt? Well, the answer of that is really obvious, isn't it? It's $100. And that's the present value. He must put in $100 into the bank or building society to earn 12% interest, which will give him, of course, his $112 with the 12% interest. So now, looking at that now from the other perspective, we're going to look at it now from the present value. So the present value equals the future value divided by 1.12, yeah, which is the opposite from the future value. We're looking at the principal times 1.12 to give us the future value, and now it's the other way around. We've got in there the future value 112, divide that by 1.12, which is the interest rate, in order to give us back then the $100, which is what we need to invest right now. Makes sense, yeah? So there are many uses for present value analysis, guys, especially when the choice must be made between the cash amounts to be received over different periods. In different periods, we usually talk about different how many years, 1, 2, 3 years, etc. So suppose someone offered you a choice. They said to you, I will give you $200 today, or you wait for 12 months and I'll give you instead $232. How would you know which is the best offer? Think about that. Let's look at it. Option 1, receive $200 today. In today's money, $200, thank you very much, goes in your pocket. Option 2 is receive $232 in 12 months' time. So if we did the future value formula for the $200, if we bank that at 12% interest, what we'll have in 12 months' time is $224. But if we wait and receive the $232, we're going to be in front, aren't we, by $8. Now, there's a little image there about birds, and this is something to consider. There is an old proverb that says, a bird in the hand now is worth 2 in the bush. And that simply means I will take the money now because it's more secure, yeah. Because in 12 months' time, who knows what can happen? Well, that's true. You've got to take the risk factors into consideration. But when it comes to investing in business, it's best to use these formulas in order to help you get there much more effectively, making great decisions. So another way of looking at it. We're looking at expressing both propositions in terms of present value. So again, $200 today. Option 2, receive $232 in 12 months. Now, the present value is the future value, which is 232 divided by 1.12. That means $207.14 is what you would need to invest today to earn $232 in 12 months' time. If you invested $200, yeah, it's different as in the previous formula. So what option is the best option? Well, really, it's a no-brainer. Mr. Smith would be wise to invest the $207 today to earn $230 in 12 months. So really, you'll be looking at waiting and taking the $232. That's the best option. It gives you $8 more in your pocket in 12 months' time. Let's look at this as a business. Let's say, keeping it really simple, your business is selling lollipops. So you have paid $100 to buy stock today. You earn $150 from selling the pops over 1 year. And then you earn another $70 from selling the old machine where you had the pops in after a 2-year period. You're making a profit, yeah? So if net present value is positive, which it is in our example, then wouldn't you love to sell lollipops for a business? It means that your present value or your earnings is bigger than the present value of your payments, correct? Epic win, all round, fantastic. If the net present value is negative, then it would not be a good idea or a great decision to go into the lollipop business. It really is quite simple, and your money might be best invested elsewhere. These are things you need to weigh up, one against the other, and I'm going to show you that very shortly. The last thing you want is for your payments to be bigger than your earnings. That would so not be cool. Epic loss, yeah? So you want to really think that through. So let's look at the future value over extended periods or over years. Going back to Mr. Smith again, leaving his investment over several periods or years, he will earn interest on the interest. So he's earning money on somebody else's money. This is called compound interest. So the multiple periods and compound interest is as on the screen. We have 1 period, future value equals the principal money plus 1 point and whatever the interest might be. And if it's over 2 periods, there you have there the second year calculation. Now we're going to use a table for this rather than try to work it out manually, because the tables are out there in the marketplace, easy for you to find, and so we're going to use a table for that. So let's look at the table. A future value table, I've given you here the period, which is usually years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and the interest that you're going to earn over those periods, so 1%, 5%, 20%. In the example that follows, we're going to use a 5-year period and a 20% interest, so that the figure for the calculation is 2.488, and I'll show you now what that means. Let's say then the F is the formula value, and the formula value is the future value equals the principal times formula value, which is 5 years at 20% equals 2.488. So the calculation, let's say you have $400 invested for a 5-year period at 20%. The calculation is as follows. $400 times 2.488, because that's the 5-year period at 20%, yeah? So your future value is $995.20. So let's take it up a notch. We're going to go into a slightly bigger business. Are we going to invest in machine A or machine B? We need to make a business decision, and we need to make a decision which is the best way we need to invest our funds. So in going there, net present value and internal rate of return are different methods that we can use on the discounted cash flow. Today we're looking at net present value, and the internal rate of return we're going to look at in another video at some time in the future. So assume that you must make a decision, and so regarding this purchase. There are 2 machines which will serve the purpose, and you need to decide which of the machines is the best investment. So each machine requires you to pay out upfront $25,000. So your initial payment upfront for, doesn't matter if you choose machine A or B, is $25,000. You're going to outlay $25,000. The estimated lifespan of each machine is 4 years. If you invest in machine A, you know that the estimated savings you're going to make over that 4-year period are going to be the same over each year for 4 years. Machine B, however, will produce no cash savings in the first year, but it will increase its savings in the remaining years of those 4 years. Let me show you what that means as an example. So cash flows, you have your periods there, and of course the first one there at period 0, that's the $25,000 we're going to outlay upfront. Yeah, so that's classified as 0. Then we have year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and we have the different estimated cash flows over that period. So machine A is $25,000, and then $10,000, as you can see, for each consecutive year. Machine B is $25,000, and there's no return at all in the first year, but year 2 is $5,000, year 3 is $9,000, and year 4 is $35,000. So management notes say that the interest rate of return has got to be 12%. So the net present value, again, it's a method that we use to discount the future cash flows. And any cash coming in or any cash going out at the beginning of the first year, again, is always a 0 time, at that time 0. and that includes all initial cash outlays for the machines, any stock, anything like that in relation to the initial purchase. These are already expressed in the present value terms, yeah? So there's that calculation again. Present value equals future value divided by 1 point, and the required rate of return, which the management said was 12%, and then over that the number of periods. So let's have a look at that. Looking at machine A, let's looking at the formula. $10,000 divided by 1.12, which is what the management said they wanted, over a 4-year period. Now, I'm going to show you the table in a moment, and the table shows us that the 4-year period, let's have a look. 4-year period is 12% is 0.6353. I'll just go back a slide. So there we are, 6,353, yes, according to the table. So that calculation again is 10,000 divided by 1.12 4 times over 4 periods. Now, the internal rate of return, of course, is there for you as well. We're not going to cover that today. We are going to cover it later on, but it is an interesting one for you to look at. If you have some time to do some Google searching on it, it's a great idea to do that. So here we are in longhand. This is the calculation, how it's worked out. And we're going to go straight down to the second row there. So the 25,000 outlay is a minus because we paid that up front. Then we have for machine A, we've got 10,000 for year 1 at 1.12, then year 2, then year 3, then year 4. Using the table that we looked at before, there's the calculation that we need to use. So in effect, the result is it's a minus 25,000 for the initial outlay plus what we've earned. So 8,929, 7,974, 7,117, and 6,353, which leaves us a balance of, at the end of the 4 years, we're in $5,373 return. So there we are, very quickly again. There's the discount factor for the 4 years at 12%, rounded, and so the net present value of the cash flow associated with this machine A is $5,380. Let's do a comparison then for A. That should be A. So machine A at future value, and the next column should be A at present value, and then the next 2 columns are machine B at future value and machine B at present value. So there are the calculations again, in longhand. But you will see there that whenever you do the summation at the bottom, the net present value for machine A for present value is 5,380, and for machine B it's 7,653. What does that tell you? Well, it tells you that machine B gives a much more positive return. So perhaps machine B should be your preferred way of proceeding in your investing. So one machine must be chosen ultimately because you need this for your business, let's say, and based on the figures, it makes more sense then for you to select machine B because it does give you an estimated result. The estimated result is higher. So that's it for now. Easy. Remember to grab your net present value handout, download it from therealfocus.com.au website, follow along and watch this as often as you like. And I trust you've enjoyed this session. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope it's given you some more clarity around the net present value. So staying inspired. Look forward to seeing you again, and contact me there with those details anytime that you choose. Have a great day. Thanks.